Hey, this is the antisocial socialite back at it again. Shout out to all of you wonderful subscribers and returning friends. Welcome. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed, please do so. What are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. So when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. You see the title, you know what time it is. This video is actually addressing the content creator known as Aaroen and his partners in crime, namely the honest truth. But this is not really going to be about the honest truth today and what he hopes to do. Okay, this is not going to be a long video, but I'm going to just try and keep it super respectful, because at the end of the day, everybody has the right to their opinion, and this is YouTube. Okay, but my question to men like Aaroen is, what exactly do you aim to accomplish by destroying the Manosphere? Because I get that you have issues with the Manosphere, and I agree that there are issues within the Manosphere. Okay, that's one of the reasons why I started to make content, because I wanted to actually not necessarily counter some of their talking points, but give a different perspective or give my own take, instead of just complaining from the chat room or complaining in the comment section. Especially because for the most part I agreed, I said let me just make content. But the way men like Aaroen present their argument, you would almost believe that the Manosphere is the only place on earth where there are people who are extreme, where there are people who are very critical, where there are people who are angry or hurt. Now, I'm not saying that Aaroen doesn't make complaints at the women's sector of YouTube, which goes so far as to say things like the Y chromosome is trash and abort black boys. I haven't watched enough of his content to say that he doesn't have criticisms of other sectors of YouTube. And people like Aaroen, they complain about the white Manosphere as much as they do the black Manosphere. Now, I know some of his female supporters and subscribers don't necessarily know much about the white aspect of the Manosphere. I, however, started watching content by white content creators, and it was only because there was some overlap at one point between certain content creators who were predominantly in the white space but also collaborated with members of the black Manosphere that I even knew that the black Manosphere existed. And one of the reasons why I moved away from watching content from the white Manosphere to the black Manosphere is because as I was presented with a certain number of arguments, I realized that there was a cultural need to address certain things within the black community that the white community does not have to go through to the same degree, namely the concept of the matriarchy and a black family structure that's headed predominantly by women. When I started to listen to black men airing their grievances, I began to understand a lot of the behaviors that I witnessed in my own life and in the lives of the people around me. And I had the initial, these men hate women, they're dangerous to women, they must be some type of predator. I'm not gonna lie. But the more I reflected on the information I was getting, and I took a long, hard look, because when you don't see something as an issue, or when you don't consciously recognize something, it's just something that's part of your life. It's something that you take for granted. It doesn't register. It's almost like a smell. Most people know that after a while, when you get used to a smell, you no longer smell it anymore. That doesn't mean the odor has gone away. It just means that your body is no longer sensing it because you've been overloaded. The initial sensation is gone and it's just a constant, so it's blocked out from your conscious mind. And as the manosphere began to highlight certain behaviors, certain mentalities, certain structures within the Black community, where these issues that we see in the Black community came from, I began to look around with an objective lens and realized that there was a lot of validity to what they said. It makes perfect sense that many of the issues in the Black community start in the household, because I myself can reflect on my own upbringing. So when I listen to brothers like Aaron Fountain complaining about the manosphere, I'm not going to lie, I'm extremely perplexed as to what he hopes to accomplish. Black women say that a lot of Black men are broke. Well, you have Black men in the manosphere pushing you to not just make good 5 figures, but 6 figures. You have lawyers in the manosphere. You have people who are in construction, trucking, IT. It's a diverse group of individuals who are succeeding. Now, in the States and in a lot of places, they are doing average or above average like every other race of man. And when you go over to other sectors of the YouTube streets, those men are just as average. Some are below, some are above. It's a mix, just like any other population within the society. And I have to wonder, what does Aaron actually hope to achieve by tearing down the manosphere all the time when he himself is a man? The very laws that men are trying to fight to get changed, the very things that men are complaining about, he himself could be a victim of. Just because you advocate for women and you cape for women is not going to change the fact that the same kind of women that the manosphere tries to expose and complain about will not come and also attack you. So what do you gain by protecting women who don't protect the interests of Black men, let alone sometimes themselves? The female validation is not worth it, but if you like it, we love it, because that's the only goal, that's the only thing I can see you accomplishing by trying to destroy the manosphere. Now, as I pose the question, if the manosphere disappeared today, no white manosphere, no Black manosphere, how would that change the Black community? Would it change the Black community for the better, or would it change it for the worse, or would it make absolutely no difference? Do Black women in the offline world do what they do because there is a group of men on social media talking about their personal experiences? Because women are free to complain about their personal experiences all the time. They have TV shows, they have songs, they have daytime TV, gossipy magazines. They are socially encouraged to talk about their feelings. But there is one space where men have for themselves, which was not created as a relationship space. It wasn't created to bring men and women together. It was created to give men an outlet where they could air their grievances and share their experiences without being filtered and controlled by women. As soon as men try to mobilize, you have not only women coming against them, but men who seek the validation of said women trying to tear it down. And I have my hypotheses as to why, but that's a video for another day. But it's not going to be worth it. If Black women are saying that Black men don't hold each other accountable, well, this is one of the spaces where you do hear men critiquing other men, telling them to stop being careless with their seed. If you have children, take care of them. Stop producing children out of wedlock. Make money. Go and be successful. Offering you all kinds of advice about career paths. And just like women, men have feelings too. They need a place where they can come together, they can experience camaraderie, they can, proverbially cry on each other's shoulder and know they're not going crazy, that what they are going through is not isolated. There are other people out there who actually have experienced what they experience and feel the way they feel. Despite the fact that there are people who talk about pumping and dumping, they can be, let's say, crass. They can be laddish. This is a space where men can speak unfiltered and unchecked, to make the jokes they want to make, to say the things they want to say, and just be free in their masculinity. And whether you and other people like it or not, maybe more not than do like, this space is going to save people's lives. One of the things that I have an issue with Aaroen Fountain is he's extremely disingenuous with the way he presents his information. I know he did a video recently talking about you're misquoting us. I personally don't just think Aaroen Fountain and people like him misquote the Manosphere, but they selectively chop bits of videos and film or whatever you want to call it and quotes and string them together in a way that gives a false representation of the entirety of the space. That's my personal issue with Aaroen Fountain. You have people talking about technology, we have lawyers, we have people who are in IT, we have a variety of people in this space, but you seem to zone in on a handful of people saying some out-of-pocket quote-unquote things, which does not change because they are in a social media space. These are the things people were saying before the internet. So let's not pretend that the internet created these people. Quite the opposite. A lot of people are feeling lost, they're feeling confused, they're feeling isolated. And they come to social media looking for answers and looking for support. And I find it embarrassing and I find it sad that a grown man is angry at other men for trying to find their voice and do something that's in their personal best interest. Black women complain about the community, but a community is made of people, it's made of families, and it's the woman who controls the family. She controls which men get access to her body in the West, which children get born, what environment they are born into. So you cannot complain about black men not performing when they have a disadvantaged start as a result of the decisions the previous generation has made. But that's another female talking point. That's another female strategy in order to deflect attention away from women, because your primary base and audience are females that the Manosphere is talking about. The women who support Aaroen Fountain and his ilk, are the kind of women, unfortunately, who probably the Manosphere would criticize. And because they couldn't join the Manosphere in a lot of instances, they have now joined the other side trying to beat the Manosphere. But as I asked you, if the Manosphere disappeared today, what exactly would change about the black community, if anything? Would it be better? Would it be worse? Or would it stay the same? Now, the main reason why I wanted to do this quick video is this. The Manosphere is not a cult. Although there are people who maybe have a cult-like following, it's not a cult. It's not a hive-minded monolith. It's not centrally controlled. It's not a religion. It's not even owned by the content creators who make content in this space. You may have created material, but the platform is owned and run by places like YouTube. But the reason why I wanted to make this video, and the reason why I titled it the way that I did, is because, with all due respect, somebody like Aaroen is actually a snake. But not to black men, but to the black women that follow him. Aaroen is a snake to men and women. He's a snake to children. And I'll tell you why. Because a lot of the men who have complaints in this space are not complaining about their girlfriends or their wives, although many have girlfriends and are or have been married. Men like Aaroen are a snake to the children that come into this dysfunction who end up being destroyed. And he does a disservice to women, not just the women who follow him because they want somebody to hide behind, but he does a disservice to women like me. Now, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for violins. But I can talk about the abuse I experienced at the hands of black women. For lying and going out and having hot pepper thrown into my face and it could blind me. Being attacked with a hammer or threatened to be attacked with a hammer where I had to exit through a window. I can talk about being locked out on the doorstep to think about my actions. Being disowned. Being put into care. Not being supported after abuse, and being told, I notice when I go out, you're in my bedroom, and we know what that implies. So when people talk about the state of black women, you do a disservice to all the black women who have been harmed by other black women, and you cover the cycle of degeneracy. You cover the cycle of dysfunction and generational carelessness that women are inflicting upon other women, who then go on to inflict all kinds of pain on the people around them, including their own children. You basically are an enabler of degenerate, broken women who don't want to face the fact that they need help. The Manosphere is not the reason why 3 out of 4 black women in the States do not get married. And you yourself know the reasons why there are issues. Presenting a lot of statistics or statements as though somehow you're countering the Manosphere is not cutting it. Just because you sympathize with these women, maybe you see your mother in them. Maybe you see your sister in them. Maybe you were raised by a single mother. So all these things affect you. Maybe you're just a soft guy. Maybe you just feel sorry for people and you don't like to hear anybody being spoken badly about ever. But the reality is this. If you care about people, you tell them the truth. And the truth is, black people are in a dire mess. And men like you are not helping the situation by constantly coddling grown adult women, some of whom have children, who are messing up, who are failing, who are hurting themselves and hurting people around them. With your deliberate misrepresentation of the Manosphere, adding women into the Manosphere that are not technically part of the Manosphere. The Manosphere has a core. A handful of brothers who were there at a certain time and space, they created their channels with a specific purpose in mind, which was to educate black men on certain issues. A lot of the people who make red pill content are not even part of the manosphere. They are not technically or officially part of the manosphere. Although there's no code, there's no creed, there's no edict, there's no tenets, but you have to at least claim the manosphere, and your channel was created for that purpose. But there are women out here who have come into the space, or shall I say, they are in agreement with the information they're hearing in the space, but they're not part of the manosphere. You're lumping in people who are not part of the manosphere. You're conveniently omitting people who are. And it's all designed to put out a false representation of what the manosphere stands for. Because you cannot defeat the argument that a lot of the brothers are making based on their personal experience, statistics, and what you can see with your own two eyes. And I personally find that somebody like you is more dangerous than a lot of the women out here who lie on black men. Because you know the truth, but you hide it. But you don't hide it from black men. You hide it from black women who you know are going to make a mess of their life if they don't get the right information. Information they're not getting at home. There's a scripture that says, open rebuke is better than secret love. Just because you claim to care about black women doesn't mean to say hiding the truth from them is going to help them. They may not love you, they may not like you, you may not get as many views, you may not get as big of a following. But one thing nobody will be able to say is that you didn't tell them the truth. And as we can see with more and more women flooding into the space, many of these women want to know why their life is going in the direction it's going, why the women in their family are educated, attractive, but can't seem to get a man or keep a man, why they're ending up continuing in the same pattern of women in their previous generations. And men like you become enablers, keeping black women in dysfunction. Now, I don't want to be hyperbolic. I don't want to be melodramatic. But a lot of people believe that R. Kelly loves women. But I've always said that deep down, R. Kelly hates women. He despises them because it was women that let him down, put him in a position to be abused, and robbed him of his innocence. And sometimes it's better that somebody openly rebukes you, and when you come back to your senses, you realize this person tried to help me, than the person that pretends to love you and watches you go into your destruction. And Aaron Fountain and men like you are those people. You see black women going on a mission that's destroying them. Kids out of wedlock, poverty, overspending, obesity, promiscuity, killing themselves with drink, drugs, covering themselves in tattoos, making themselves undesirable, unfeminine, unnurturing, of no asset or value to anybody, sometimes even to themselves. And instead of telling them the truth, you watch them go and destroy themselves. So if anybody is misogynistic, I would say it's men like you, men that capitalize on the brokenness of dysfunctional women. You're better off openly rebuking these women and letting them decide what they want to do with the truth than telling them what they want to hear and coddling them only to watch them go and be destroyed. Some of the most dangerous people are not the ones that grimace in your face. They're the ones that smile while stabbing you in the back. And men like Aaron Fountain are those men. So say what you want about the Manosphere. They're not perfect. Just like any community of human beings, we are imperfect, and you're going to have extreme people in every group. Unless the group was created by extremists for extremists, it doesn't matter how docile or how neutral the topic is. You will always have people who take things to the extreme. But the space did not create extremists. That was something that was in them already, and they just came to a place where they felt like they could be heard. But I would rather have a space where people can talk, where men can get the things on their chest off, where they can be inspired, where they can be supported, than an echo chamber of women are not the problem, when clearly they have a lot of problems. That's all I got for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, share the video with somebody who needs to see it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.